I welcome you all for today's session. In this lecture, we'd like to learn third question solution in the model question paper. So, in the third question, what he is asking us to explain principle of operation of DC generator and derive the expression for induced EMF in a DC generator. So, let us try to understand this question. Now let us see the principle of operation of DC generators. So DC generator works on the principle of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So what Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction states is that according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, whenever conductor cuts the magnetic field, an EMF will be induced in the conductor. So in order to have induced EMF, we need to have a magnetic flux and a conductor which is moving. So whenever this conductor is rotating within the magnetic flux, it will cut the flux. Whenever there is a flux cutting between the conductor and flux, there will be EMF induced in the conductor. Okay. So the induced EMF is proportional to rate of change of flux. So this induced EMF is given by E is equal to B into L into V into sine theta. So BLV sine theta is the induced EMF equation. Here B is the magnetic flux density, L is the effective length of the conductor, V is the velocity at which the conductor is moving. So if I have a conductor with me, if I move the conductor with a velocity V in the magnetic flux, having magnetic flux density B, then there will be induced EMF in the conductor which is given by B into L into V sine theta. So theta is the angle between conductor and the magnetic flux. This is the theta. If theta is equal to 90, then this becomes E is equal to BLV sine 90. So sine 90 is 1. So you will get maximum induced EMF which is given by B multiplied by L multiplied by V. Okay. Now we'll see the EMF equation of a DC machine. See, the DC machine means the same machine maybe acts as a generator or a motor. So whether it is motor or generator, the induced EMF is same. So let us try to derive the expression for induced EMF in a DC machine. So let us assume there are P poles in a machine. So P is the number of poles of the machine, and the flux per pole. Under each pole there is a flux which is named as phi. So I am assuming flux per pole as 5 Webers. There are Z number of conductors in the armature of this machine. So Z is total number of armature conductors, and these conductors which are placed on the armature, now the armature is rotating at a speed capital N revolutions per minute. RPM means revolutions per minute, and these Z number of conductors are arranged in two types of windings we have discussed. One is wave winding, another one is lap winding. So based on nature of the winding, all the conductors, that is Z number of conductors, will be arranged in A parallel paths. So A is the number of parallel paths in the armature winding. So if it is a lap winding, A is equal to number of poles of the machine, that is P. If it is a wave winding, A is equal to always 2. Okay. I hope up to here it is clear. So now in one revolution of the armature, if the armature is made one complete revolution, then flux cut by one conductor in the armature is given by P into 5 Webers. Why I am writing P into 5? See, under each pole there is a flux 5 per pole. How many such poles are there in this machine? There are P number of poles in this machine. So if I multiply P and flux per pole, I'll get total flux available in that machine. That's why P into 5 Webers is the flux cut by one conductor in the armature if it made one revolution. So how much is the time taken to complete one revolution? See, already we assumed n is the speed in RPM. RPM means revolution per minute. Means in order to complete one revolution, what is the time taken for one revolution? The time taken is 1 minute. That is the meaning of RPM, revolutions per minute. So 1 minute is equal to how many seconds? 60 seconds. So in order to complete one revolution, the rotor is taking 60 seconds. If it is making n revolutions, what is the time taken by the machine? Then T will be equal to 60 divided by n. See, n revolutions is done in 60 seconds. If I want one revolution, it will be time taken will be 60 by. So this is the time taken to complete one revolution, T per revolution, that is 60 by n. So means in 60 by n seconds, the rotor will rotate, complete one revolution. So the time taken to complete one revolution is given by T is equal to 60 by n seconds. Now if I want average induced EMF per conductor or in one conductor, E is equal to P pi by T. See, flux E is equal to d phi by dt. Here if I consider d phi as the flux linkage, that is P multiplied by phi, dt is the change in time, that is T. So P phi by T is the EMF induced in one conductor. So in place of T, I can write time taken to complete one revolution is 60 by n. That's why I substituted here 60 by n. So P pi by 60 by n. If I rewrite, means it is just like A by B divided by C by D can be written as A by B multiplied by D by C. So if I do that, I'll get P phi n divided by 60. See, just this P phi by 1 into n by 60. Then I can write it as P into phi into n by 60 volts. So this is the induced EMF in one conductor. But in the DC machine, there are Z number of conductors are there arranged in A parallel paths. So you have, if you want to know what is the induced EMF in the armature, you have to multiply the induced EMF in one conductor multiplied with total number of conductors arranged in A parallel paths. So if I want to find average induced EMF in the armature, See, all the number of conductors, total number of conductors is Z. These Z conductors are arranged in A parallel paths. That's why the number of conductors in series in each parallel path is Z by A. So if I want to find average induced EMF across each parallel path or across the armature terminals, then E is given by, see, this P phi n by 60 is the induced EMF in one conductor. But in the armature there are Z conductors arranged in A parallel paths. That's why I am multiplying with Z by A. Then what I will get? E is equal to P into phi into N into Z divided by 60A. This is the induced EMF in the generator. So from this, if you observe, once the machine was designed, this number of poles of the machine P is constant. It will not change. Again, this 60 anyhow is a constant. See, total number of conductors, once you made the winding, this total number of conductors also will not change. So Z is also constant. This parallel paths is depends on nature of the winding, means once you complete the winding, how many parallel paths you arranged these conductors will also be constant. So here P, Z and A are constants. So if I make them with a single constant, I can write E is equal to K into phi into N. So this K is the constant of proportionality, which is phi into Z by 60A. So as it is constant, I can write like this. So means what you can observe is the induced EMF in the DC generator is directly proportional to flux phi and speed at which the armature is rotating. So thus we can conclude that the induced EMF is directly proportional to speed n and flux per pole, that is phi. So I would like to stop here for today. So in the next lecture we'll see 3B, solution for 3B. Thank you.